Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sam and Noah Show. Today, we will be talking about Trump claiming an old guy is part of Antifa. We will also be talking about the resurfacing of Anonymous. And finally, we'll be talking about a rare white grizzly spotted in Alberta. My name is Noah.
Hello, my name is Sam.
And so, let's get right into it. Actually, first of all, how are you doing, Sam?
Noah, I'm doing as good as can be. I have never been happier under quarantine, and I'm very excited to go back to school and pick up my sweater that I've left there since before March break. Because we can go back to school and pick up sweaters.
That could definitely be a highlight for sure.
Yeah.
I know someone who left their lunchbox over the
Oh,
thing,
that's
so
gotta
hopefully
suck.
hopefully someone cut open that locker and took that out, because that's gonna smell. Alright, so Trump claims an old guy is part of Antifa, and then there's this whole debate on Twitter about that, and everybody's saying Trump is wrong. Tell me more about that, please.
Okay, well, basically what happened, and I'm sure some of you have seen the video, but if you haven't, that's okay. I'll tell you what happened. So there's this elderly man in Buffalo. He was at the protest, and in the video, he walks up to the police officer, but he does stop walking, and he just stands there. And it's hard to tell if he says anything or not, because you can't hear it, and it's just at an awkward angle in the video. But there's like no sign of aggression, and the police officer is obviously stronger than this guy is, because he looks very frail. And just out of nowhere, he shoves him on the ground. The guy flies back about 3-4 feet before he falls. And you can see instantaneously the back of his head starts bleeding. And so Trump says, in defense of the police officer, that the elderly man injured in Buffalo was being an Antifa provocateur, but that was unsubstantiated according to journalists. So here's a bit of background on it. So Martin Gugino, which is the guy's name, the 75-year-old protester shoved and injured at the June 4th protest in Buffalo, New York, remains in the hospital in critical condition, according to a reporter from CBS News. On Tuesday, President Trump said that Gugino could be a provocateur for the activist group Antifa, and that the encounter with the Buffalo police may have been a setup. Several outlets, including BuzzFeed, Bloomberg, and WBFO, said the claim was unsubstantiated. 2 local police officers have been charged with assault over the incident. So, considering that Donald Trump's big on this fake news thing, I don't believe anything he says. And this is, just blatantly not true. If he was a part of Antifa, he would definitely not be 75 years old. Because Antifa, if you look at their demographics, their range is between 20 and 35 for the most part. So, it's not impossible that he's a part of Antifa, but it's just not very likely. Most people in Antifa are fairly young individuals. Another thing is that people are acting like Antifa is a bad thing. Antifa means anti-fascist, which means that they don't agree with incredibly far-right political views, which President Trump currently has. So this
is why I guess he declared it to be a terrorist organization.
Exactly. And it's more just like Trump's afraid that he's going to lose, so he's trying to get votes right now by threatening people with violence. Who deploys the military on their own people when they're protesting for civil rights? That is that is a dictatorship. That sounds like what happened in That sounds like what happened in Hong Kong 30 years ago when the military just killed everyone in the plaza. I forget what the incident was called.
At Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what Trump is thinking. He thinks he's going to go down in his history and the greatest president. When people are reading about him in the history books, they're going to say, wow, this man was an absolute buffoon.
I mean, there was Kim Jong-un, but holy shit, look at this guy.
Yeah. I don't know, you may as well call him Genghis Khan in the modern world at this point.
But yeah, so about the old man, what city was it again?
It was in Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah. So Trump said it was like a set, or at least like the people around Trump said it was like a setup, and he said something provocative. I could believe the provocative part, because it's like I can see with like now police aggression and all that yes, they could just decide to go out of nowhere and just punch a guy, but it must be like the guy must have said something. So I definitely wouldn't say it's set up, because why would you set that up? Like, that makes no sense. but it's probably some protester who wasn't happy with what's going on, said something to the cops, and the cops just couldn't hold back and just did like a really stupid move by pushing him down to the ground. It was totally unacceptable behavior.
And realistically, I don't know, it seems stupid to me. Why would a cop use police brutality in a protest that is protesting police brutality?
Yeah, the entire thing, like, I think this defund the police entire idea is a good cause. Like, the Black Lives Matter movement is really smart. I'm not too much of a fan of the All Lives Matter.
Well, I think it misses the point. Like,
yeah, it's like, so what I saw, I don't remember where it was. It might have been Instagram or Reddit. But essentially what the All Lives Matter movement is, so pretend you're like the father or the mother of a kid, and you're let's say you're at a meeting with a bunch of parents, and you tell one of the parents, like, yeah, my kid is really special, and then suddenly that parent says all our kids are special, and it's just like you're taking away the focus from the one group. Like,
it's just people who, in my opinion, the All Lives Matter people are either people who don't realize what's going on, or they just for some reason feel that they need to take this away, and that there shouldn't be they just, I don't know, I don't even know what to say about it. I just think it's disrespectful as to what's going on.
Yeah, and like
just,
right now, I think the Black Lives Matter movement is really what's most important right now. Like, because of the police brutality, we're looking about police brutality because it's happening more on people of color than it is on white people, because white people just automatically have that white privilege. Like, it's just built into our society. Like, that's just what's the problem with our society, and this Black Lives Matter movement is trying to equalize society, or make the society more,
make the system more fair.
Yeah, and like make there be justice and not just oppression or systematic oppression.
Well, here's a question. After what happens and changes occur, do you think there's going to be a movement for the Indigenous people in Canada? Because of course they're included in this too, but it's not like Indigenous Lives Matter, it's Black Lives Matter. So what do you foresee in the future?
Well, there has been many Indigenous movements. You have the red dresses, I believe. I think it's red dresses.
Yeah, red dresses. Yeah.
Where they hang dresses around in the city to represent the Indigenous women who have been murdered.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women. So, like,
missing and murdered.
Yeah, because we hang those up every year at school.
So there is already a movement. I don't think it's going to happen again as strong as the Black Lives Matter, because the Black Lives Matter was just a combination of factors of George Floyd's death. It was a combination of just pent-up anger from the black community, I'm gonna
understandably too.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think, unless there's, like, I'm not saying I hope this doesn't happen, but unless I think there's another incident like that which happens within the Native community, there might not be such a strong protest. I definitely hope there are protests, though, because as we see, we have the pipeline, which is being built, I think, across Western Canada, and it's tearing through some reserves. Yeah, it's hard to talk about it too, because I mean, you and I both come from privilege, like a point of view, like a privileged point of view. So I don't know. I hope we didn't offend anyone, but that's just how we see that. We are, yeah. So I, as a white male, I'm not. I don't want to take away any focus from people who are in need of it at the moment.
Yeah.
I want to listen to your opinion. I want to listen to what you have to say, and then pass your message across to others who need to hear it.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think I could have said it better than that. So that being said, I guess we should move on to the next subject, which is the resurfacing of Anonymous. So I don't know if anyone knows about this, but Anonymous released a video saying that they were going to attack the Minneapolis police webpage and take down their system. Noah, what do you think of the resurfacing of Anonymous? What does this mean for the world, especially at this time?
Okay, well, I don't think it has too much of an impact on the world as a whole. But I do think it's kind of a good thing. They're using their tools. I mean, I think they're an organization who's kind of looking to bring kind of equality, like accountability, not equality, but yeah, exactly. So you have Anonymous, and if they can go exposing the Minneapolis police department, that'll just come help the Black Lives Matter movement, because they're showing how systematic racism and systematic oppression is actually in place and how it actually exists. And I think it's a really, really good thing. Because I don't think they would. Yeah, Anonymous I don't think is a threat to civilians. It's more of a threat to the government and their...
Yeah, there's sensitive documents in national security, or what they consider to be national security. Yeah, I found it really fascinating because Anonymous kind of has all the power in the world. This is a very highly intelligent group of individuals. And they obviously understand how the internet works better than anyone else, considering that they hacked the FBI's mainframe, which is insane in my eyes. The only fear I have is that they might misjudge certain situations. For instance, they took down a bunch of ISIS Twitter accounts, about 20,000 ISIS members' Twitter accounts that the Canadian government was surveying for potential ISIS threats, which completely threw the entire operation off. So, I don't know. In one way, I think Anonymous is good because they are making governments more accountable for the mistakes they make. But at the same time, I think sometimes they overstep their jurisdiction.
Well, I wouldn't say they have a jurisdiction.
The internet is nobody's jurisdiction.
Online, you can't own any part of the internet. You can have a domain, but you can't I don't know, I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not real estate. Anyone can use it, and anyone can touch it.
Exactly. It's free real estate.
However, so in that case you're talking about where they deleted the member ISIS accounts.
So I think that's more where they're trying to help the government, but they don't realize they aren't actually working with the government. So that didn't work out. But now in this scenario, they're kind of working against the government. They're working for the people. And so in this case, I don't think we will have any of that trouble.
No, I think it's a good. I think they're doing it the right way right now, because I
think the biggest risk that could happen is they expose the wrong people for the wrong things.
Accidentally, I would suspect they would do it, because I don't know. They seem to be trying to do what's best for the world.
But they're that
one's a touchy subject too, because technically this podcast could get hacked too by Anonymous if they really wanted to.
So Anonymous is kind of a group of individuals. Anyone can really join Anonymous, because I'm sure all Anonymous group members don't know who else is in the group.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one location, because that would kind of ruin the entire point. But I think in this case they're really being pro-civilians, I almost said antifa, but
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, moving on. Recently in Alberta, I think it might have even been today or yesterday, but a rare grizzly was spotted, and experts hope you never see it. So white grizzlies are almost unheard of. Polar bears usually roam the Arctic, and the West Coast has a kermit or spirit bears, though they are a variant of black bear, and their numbers are estimated to be in the low hundreds. So that's what this bear is. I'm not exactly sure if it's a mix between a grizzly and a polar bear, or a grizzly and a black bear, or just a white grizzly bear. But this is an indication that the climate actually is changing.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that could be a thing. I mean, if they're found in the northern Arctic, then they're not really supposed to be in Alberta. So for them to end up in Banff, there must have been a change in something for them to come down.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since they're in the low hundreds, you say. So the chances of them even being down there are incredibly low.
Yeah, I find it kind of odd that a white grizzly was spotted in Alberta, because I follow what's going on in nature quite closely. Like I don't know, I check out Nature magazine all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a big BBC Planet Earth guy.
Oh yeah.
And usually my dad and I talk about this type of thing and these types of rare spottings of animals, but this I hadn't heard of till I checked Twitter, and I just found this shocking because you don't really hear of this. This is not something that happens. Like, a white grizzly is literally the rarest thing amongst bears.
Yeah, very, very rare bear. I mean, I think up in Banff you usually have brown bears, black bears, grizzlies, but maybe I guess it's just like, I don't want to say off-breed, but it's kind of
like a hybrid, maybe?
mutated in a way.
Oh, yeah. That's true. It could have just been like a single point mutation or something, then for some reason it turned out to have white fur instead of the typical brown or black fur.
But yeah, so their biggest threat right now, actually, the star.com, I think, a Toronto newspaper says, is that the people are actually the biggest threats. Tourists, they're the people in the Banff Park, or Parks Canada, is afraid that's going to attract extra tourists, and this could affect the way of life of the grizzly bear, leading it to possibly further extinction due to change of its way of life.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I'm also praying that nobody else sees this grizzly, and I really hope that no one tries to go hunt it down either, because I know there's a few people who will probably give it their best shot, even though it's not a good idea to go kill a grizzly unless you have a gun.
Yeah, and being a city slicker, I'm not really sure how much hunting there's still going on, like fur hunting and all that. I don't know if that's a thing of the past or it's still quite common. I actually haven't heard of any fur hunting in a long time.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the profession sort of died out a couple years ago. Although that is a kind of sick job when you think about it. Just living up in the wild with the animals. Buy a few Canadian Eskimo dogs. Hit up the sleigh. Just go skiing around. Try and find some animals. I don't know, I'd do that for a living. Although I don't like killing animals especially.
I would do that, but without the hunting part.
Yeah, but you'd rock with the Canadian Eskimo dogs, eh?
Oh yeah.
Those are some sick dogs.
The nearest mountain, and I'll just ice climb up that mountain, you know?
Oh, true. Yeah, let's speak about that because we still have a bit of time. What's going on with rock climbing? Are the gyms opening soon, or are you just gonna go like rock climbing out in the wild? Are you gonna revolutionize the game?
So I have so many answers to that. The gym. So one of the gyms has opened in Toronto, but it's not like your regular kind of climbing. So there's about like a third of as many holes on the wall as there used to be at that one gym, and you have to book a specific time slot for when you want to go, because they can't have more than a specific amount of people.
Yeah, that's understandable though.
They also wash the holes all the time, so basically it's just thorough cleaning process. Make sure you wash your hands before and after. Hopefully the gyms in Ottawa will reopen soon, because just climbing is so much fun.
Yeah.
And I need to get some exercise. But outdoor climbing has actually reopened. The Gatineau has reopened its climbing spots. Same with Calabogie, which is actually really cool. Last Sunday I went climbing for the first time outside.
Nice. How was it?
It was so much fun. I learned how to lead climb. I did some lead climbing. It was great. So no, you don't really have a rope attached. You have to clip in yourself, and it's so much fun. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough quick draws, which is what you use to clip the rope to the rock.
Oh, that's too bad.
So
but
we
still
only made it halfway up, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast. Well, if anyone ever needs some rock climbing advice, just comment down below in the comments. No, we'll set you up with some quick answers.
Yes, maybe I'll just be doing a quick Google search, but we'll see what I can do for you. So on that note...
Alright, that concludes this episode of the Sam and Noah Show. We thank you for joining us. This was Sam and Noah speaking with you, and have a good week.
Take care, guys.